We're in a 2014 Chevy Silverado. We're going to do a plug-and-play remote starter installation. A couple different ways we can do this vehicle. We can do it just taking off the plastic cover around the steering column, or we can remove the lower dash. I'm going to go ahead and remove the lower dash. You can decide what you would like to do when you do the job. T15 Torx for the under dash screws. We've got the under dash off. We're going to remove it completely. We can do that. I'll show you what to do. To remove the hood latch, we're going to press this down and slide the mechanism backwards. Can't do it with the tablet in my hand. I'm going to set the tablet down. Actually, I can. I'm going to press the clip in and slide the hood latch back to remove the lower dash completely. Okay, now we're going to remove the cover piece to the steering wheel. We're going to take our plastic tool, we're going to put it behind the tilt lever, just pop the tilt lever out. Now I'm going to apply pressure to the side seam of the column plastic while we apply downward pressure. Just wiggle it back and forth a little bit, and we will take the steering column cover plastic completely off. Now there's two plugs we're going to be dealing with, the main ignition and the immobilizer. Okay, we're going to unplug the main ignition plug, which is located right here, and we're also going to unplug the immobilizer plug, which is located right here. To release the main ignition plug, we're going to use our pick tool to slide back the red clip, and then we'll just press the button or the clip on the ignition plug and remove the main ignition plug. Now with the immobilizer, just going to be able to grab the immobilizer plug and pull it out. There is no clip on the immobilizer plug. Okay, we're also going to cut the zip tie that the factory puts right here so that we can reroute these cables. At the end of the job, we're going to reapply a zip tie. So I like to take these cables and get them back behind the point where they zip tied the cables back in here. Okay, now we're ready to plug in our equipment. First plug we're going to plug in on our unit is the main ignition plug. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to plug that in. Second plug we're going to plug in is the immobilizer plug. And make sure both plugs lock in firmly. Now we're going to route our harness through the factory routing points in this little holder here. And we're going to go ahead and we're going to reapply a zip tie. We're going to put our zip tie around the same spot where the factory put their zip tie. The only difference is we have our cables running through that point now. Okay, now we'll be able to plug the vehicle plugs into our T-harness plugs. And we're going to use another zip tie to put the cables up here where they won't be interfered with. Okay, now we're going to need to make a connection at the vehicle's diagnostic plug. So we're going to go ahead and take a 7mm and we're going to remove the plug only so we can get at the wires. We're looking to make a connection at this light green wire right here. Now there's a couple different ways to make the connection. We could strip a section of the insulation and wrap our wire around it, or we can use a 3M T-tap. We're going to use a 3M T-tap, but we're going to make sure that the T-tap is applied properly. Okay, we're going to use a 3M T-tap. We're going to apply the T-tap to the wire. We're going to make sure our wire is down in this groove. We're going to put the tap around the wire, and then we're going to close it onto the wire. We're going to verify that the wire is down in this groove all the way after we've done that. So we're going to go ahead and we're going to put the tap in our pliers. We're going to make sure we're in the right spot on the wire. Going to apply the tap. And then we're going to verify that it's on correctly. If this tap is not on correctly, the unit will not program. You'll get to the final steps, but it will not complete programming. So now we're going to go ahead and we're going to locate our wire that goes to the diagnostic plug connection. We're going to make our diagnostic plug connection, and then we're going to begin programming. We drop the whole apparatus down behind the dash at this point. This will save us from having to unplug it and reroute the wires when we're done. Okay, so we're going to take our male spade end. We're going to make sure this male spade is in the middle of the connector, and we're going to plug it in, and we're going to feel that it actually requires a little bit to plug it in and that it's locked in and will not just pull out. To begin programming the Evo All, we want to remove all the plugs from the Evo. We want to remove the 4-pin data plug. Want to remove the 20-pin plug, want to remove the white plug and the red plug. We're going to hold the program button down on the Evo All with our thumb while we insert the 4-pin data plug. The lights on the front are going to come on the Evo. When we see a yellow light, we're going to release the button. The Evo's yellow light will stay on at this point. Now we don't want to press the button again. We want to plug in all of the connectors at this point. We're going to put the 20-pin in. We're going to plug the red plug in the bottom, and we're going to plug the white plug in on the bottom. With all the plugs in the Evo, we're ready to begin programming. We're going to need the OEM key to do this. We're going to press and release the program button on the Evo one time. Then we're going to wait for the yellow and red light to come on the module. When the yellow and red light comes on, we're going to insert the key, turn it to the run position. We're going to wait for a red light to flash once and then turn back on. And then we're going to turn the ignition off, remove the key, put the key back in, and turn it on again. So I have to do this within 5 seconds or it will not complete programming. That's why I'm kind of going over it before I do it. So I'm going to go ahead and press the button. I'm going to get the key ready. Waiting for the yellow and red to come on. We're going to turn the key on. The red's going to flash once, come back on. I'm going to shut the key off, remove it, put it back in, and turn it back on. The Evo All at this point will complete programming as long as we have a solid connection at the diagnostic plug. If we do not have a solid connection at the diagnostic plug, programming will not complete. This is what it does when it completes programming. Now we're going to shut the key off and remove it from the ignition. From this point forward, we will be able to start this vehicle with the OEM remote. Everything on the dashboard. We can also shut the vehicle off from the OEM remote. And this will trigger the Evo to turn off. Okay, we're at the BCM of the vehicle, down underneath the driver's side dash. Our diagnostic plug mount is right here. So this is a reference point to where we are in the vehicle. We're directly behind the diagnostic plug. These are the BCM plugs right here. The parking lights on this vehicle are on the very end plug. It's hard to see because they have some other wiring, some plow wiring here. I'm going to move it to the side a little bit so you can see. We're going for this wire right here. It's green with a gray trace, and it's located up near the corner of the plug. We verified that this is the parking light connection. We're going to go ahead and we're going to make our parking light connection. Again, it's on the white plug all the way on the end. It's the second pin in from the corner closest to the driver's seat. We've applied our 3M T-tap. We're now going to plug in our brown wire with a white stripe from the 20-pin plug of the Evo into the parking light wire that we've tapped. Okay, there's a note in the guide. If you're trying to control locking and unlocking using an aftermarket remote and the vehicle is not equipped with the OnStar system, then there will be connections that would have to be made at the blue plug of the BCM. I'm going to go ahead and unplug the blue plug and show you where the connections would be if we needed them. On this vehicle, we have the OnStar system, so we would forego these connections. So I'm going to unplug it, and we would look at the instructions and we would orientate ourselves on the plug so it matched the diagram, and we would be on the blue plug and we would be looking for the brown with white and the brown with yellow wire, and it would require 2 additional connections to these wires. So we'd have to connect a lock and an unlock here if the vehicle is not equipped with OnStar. If we're doing a single button remote, we don't need to do this, and if we're just activating with the factory remote, we do not need to do this either. The only thing we would have to do this on is vehicles where we're trying to control the locks by adding an aftermarket remote with lock and unlock and the vehicle does not have OnStar.